I'm Rebecca. I'm a sophomore at Newberry College, and I am one of your Young Life leaders. I'm from Lexington, South Carolina. I was born in 1993. Growing up, I was in a very Christian home. I grew up with a very faithful dad who was still to this day very far in his walk with Jesus, and he was the first one who ever exposed me to Christ. And he's told me since day one, ever since I was born and was old enough to comprehend what was going on, that it's always about a relationship. It's never about religion. And he always told me that keeping strong in my walk with God and talking to him every day could get me through everything. My mom, she doesn't go to church much, and she has a hard time believing the message that me and my dad have tried to put an influence on her. And going into high school is when I had my first shock of what the real world can actually be like if you dig deep enough. Junior year of high school, I dated this guy for a year and a half. And after finding out, after saying, yes, I'll date you, I found out he was a drug dealer. He didn't tell me that until after the fact. And I didn't know what to make of it. I just accepted it. Was like, okay, I guess since I like you, I'll be able to overcome it and look past it. So we dated for a little bit, and the biggest shock of what the real world was like was when one day he went to some apartment and he told me to wait in the car. And from the window of the second floor, I remember seeing him robbed at gunpoint for $1,000 worth of drugs he had. And that was the biggest, scariest thing of my entire life. I quit breathing. My heart completely stopped, and I didn't know what to do. He came back to the car all beaten up and bruised, and we couldn't report it to the cops or anything because he was dealing illegal drugs, so he would get in trouble just as much as they would. So we never reported it or anything, and that's when I told him he had to quit doing what he was doing because it's not safe for either of us, and he told me he would. But 2 months after the fact, he started doing it again once the shock and the scare wore off because he needed money. And it was just an up and down roller coaster of his drug dealing for a year and a half. And finally, in August, before I went to college, the day before my birthday, we ended up breaking up, and that was the time that I realized that Jesus wanted me to change. And as soon as we broke up, I felt this huge relief come over me, and I knew that was God saying, you need to get more involved with me. You need to get to know me. I want to get to know you. And that's when I said, all right, God, I'm going all in for you. I'll live for you. I'm committed to you. So freshman year, first semester, I went to Clemson University, and I isolated myself from everyone because I'm not good at meeting new people, and I didn't know anyone going into Clemson. And I'm very awkward when it comes to social events and people I don't know. So I isolated myself in my room. So after doing homework and having nothing to do, one day I just decided to read my Bible because I never sat down and done that before. And God just started opening up and pouring himself into me with messages that didn't make sense before and I didn't understand, just all of a sudden clicked in my head. And those 5 months I was at Clemson, I just kept diving deeper and deeper and falling more in love with him. But I was completely miserable since I isolated myself and didn't know how to make friends. So I cried to my mom in October begging for her a transfer. So second semester freshman year, I transferred to Newberry College, and I became roommates with Maria Rivas, another Young Life leader. And that's when I met Alex Kirby, Deep Roberts, and everyone. They were promoting Young Life hardcore. They tagged me in a Facebook post saying you should come to Young Life as a leader. And I remember telling Alex that there's no way I could be a leader. I'm not meant to do this. I just started this 5 months ago. But I went anyways, and it changed my whole life. And I've grown deeper and more into my faith since I've been coming to Young Life. And you kids keep me motivated to dig deeper. So I know how to mentor y'all and be there for y'all. And he's just completely changed my life, and I know this is what I was made to do. I am meant to be a Young Life leader.